Welcome to the Board of Education meeting for Weld County School District 6. This is the 24th day of May, 2021, and this meeting will now come to order. Please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Crane, will you call the roll for us, please?
Mr. Hafley?
Present.
Mrs. Mash?
Present.
Mr. Mathews?
Present.
Mrs. Mueller?
Present.
Ms. Pappas?
Present.
Mrs. Solis?
Present.
Mr. Talley?
Present.
7 members present.
Thank you, Ms. Crane. Well, this is our first meeting after graduation. We have successfully concluded the school year for 2020-2021, and it's a great feeling to have this one in the books. This meeting also represents something of the first meeting of the next school year, and there's a lot of things on our agenda if you start looking through there that offer a lot of hope for our school district. And we have a consent agenda, and it doesn't get a lot of attention in our meeting, but people should pay attention to what's on there, because our consent agenda this time has some great contracts for us. One is for Chapello, and we're going to begin construction on an arts wing for our arts magnet school, something that's long overdue, and it's great to see that construction beginning. It's great to see that contract coming before us. There's several other contracts that are tied to our bond issue, and so it's just a great time to say thank you to our voters for passing that bond issue. We cannot thank you enough. As we see the construction and Greeley West going up, as we see construction and the new, the school. What school am I thinking about, guys?
Toyton Academy.
Toyton Academy, yeah. Going up. But I was, anyway, it's wonderful to see that. And it's also a hopeful meeting because we have a teacher agreement that's going to come before us tonight. And it is a reminder of the wonderful relationship that our administration and our teachers enjoy, and the trust that exists in our school system, and to know that we have each other's backs as we have watched other school systems around the country really struggle with their relationships between administration and teachers, and school board and teachers. We think that we have, if not the best teachers in the country, at least some of the best teachers in the country. And we're so excited to have that before us tonight as well. We're also going to get to acknowledge some students. And it's a testimony to what continued to happen this year. Right? The kids continued to go to school. Kids continued to work, and we are going to honor one Boettcher and 2 Daniels finalists tonight. And so we're excited about the meeting, and that's all I have to say tonight. We're now to our public participation regarding agenda items. And Ms. Crane, I don't believe we have anybody, and you're shaking your head at me, so
Nope.
No one to speak with us tonight. So Ms. Crane, will you give us our work session report, please?
Board of Education President Michael Mathews began the work session with comments and updates from board members, and then proceeded to review the calendar of upcoming events. Superintendent Dr. Drew Pilch and Chief Financial Officer Megan Sponsler provided a brief update on the 2021-2022 budget. Legal counsel Nathan Fall provided a legislative update, and the board discussed community engagement and debriefed the work session to conclude.
Thank you, Ms. Crane. Now we'll hear from our superintendent. So Dr. Pilch.
Thank you,
I'd like you to give
President
your report.
Mathews. Thank you. I just want to first commend the board and thank the board for all the time you put in this weekend at our high school graduations. It was a beautiful weekend for high school graduations. We graduated over 1,000 students here in District 6 this weekend, and we'll graduate University and Frontier yet this coming weekend, and then Gap and Jefferson are later in the summer as well. And it's just such a wonderful celebration. So great to see the families out there celebrating their graduates and the graduates together, and all the teachers and district administrators helping out. So, my heart is full of joy having been a part of those 2 days and those 4 graduations. And I just thank all of you for your role in that. And when we started this, we said one board member could be there. Then we said 2. And then you pushed on me a little bit and said, couldn't we have 3 board members on the stage? And couldn't we have an area on the ground for the rest of the board members? And I'm so glad you did that. And I'm so glad that you were all able to be a part of those ceremonies. And it was just really a wonderful, wonderful graduation season. I think more important than probably ever before, because the students have been through so much. And they really have. This is the class that were juniors when we went remote a year ago in March. And then they came back, this fall, and many of them were quarantined throughout the year. Our high school kids were only in person 2 days a week until spring break. And I had high school kids tell me that there were kids that they had never seen in their school, other than those kids who were in their cohort with them. So, we put a lot of protocols and restrictions on these students, and yet they persevered. They are so resilient and so remarkable. And my greatest hope for all of them is just that they aren't. Doesn't define high school for them as they go into their future. And we have an opportunity tonight to honor a couple of our high school students. I'm so glad they're here today. And just let me point out, this is their first day off officially. And yet they're here at a school board meeting tonight. Those are the kind of students that we have here in District 6. And it's just a pleasure and an honor to serve here. I had an opportunity to be on the radio this morning and was asked about the bond issue. So I'm so glad you mentioned it, Michael. Lots of notice going up around this bond issue. And again, people, if you haven't been by Greeley-West High School or McAuliffe or the new Toynton Academy on 71st Avenue, you've got to go check it out. We're starting to move dirt at Chapelot. We're starting, Madison will be starting soon, and then we're going in to several schools again this summer on those secure entries and the upgrades in technology and other systems in the building. So it's, the work continues, and it continues to be a very exciting time here in District 6. The last thing I want to talk about is summer school. So we're going to start on June 1st with summer school. In K through 8th grade, it'll be Monday through Thursday. There'll be some excursions built in to entice students to want to be in summer school, because it's a full day of school. And so I would just say that if you all know parents who are saying, well, I didn't get invited to summer school, how do I get my child in summer school? Have them reach out to their building administration and see if we can't make that happen for them. At the secondary level, at high school, it's primarily pushing kids up who are trying to move ahead in a subject area, or students who may have missed out on certain courses this year or need to make up for courses that were failed. So we'll have over 3,000 students involved in summer school, and we're looking forward to that. And again, as you recognized our teachers, President Mathews, without our teachers and our support staff and our administrators, we would not be running these summer school programs. But because of the dedication we have in this system, they're coming back. They're going to get 1 week off, and then they're going to come back and do summer school. And they are tired. They are tired. And yet they know how important this is to our students, and they'll be here on June 1st to begin to take care of our students and work on catching up and pushing up our students. So just huge kudos to everyone, and a great big thank you. Thank you, President Mathews.
Thank you, Dr. Filch. Well, we need to formally approve an agenda for tonight. So if someone would make a motion to that end.
I move that the Board of Education of Greeley-Evans School District 6 approves the agenda as presented.
Second.
Thank you all. Is there any discussion on the agenda? Seeing none, Ms. Crane.
Mr. Hafley?
Aye.
Mrs. Mash?
Aye.
Mr. Mathews?
Aye.
Mrs. Mueller?
Aye.
Ms. Pappas?
Aye.
Mrs. Solis?
Aye.
Mr. Talley?
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you, Ms. Crane. We also need to approve that consent agenda that I mentioned earlier, and we'll also need a motion for this one.
I move that the Board of Education of Greeley-Evans School District 6 approves items as presented on the consent agenda and authorizes the officers to sign any and all contracts.
Second.
Thank you both. Any discussion on the consent agenda? Seeing none, Ms. Crane, will you call the roll for us?
Mr. Hafley?
Aye.
Mrs. Mash?
Aye.
Mr. Mathews?
Aye.
Mrs. Mueller?
Aye.
Ms. Pappas?
Aye.
Mrs. Solis?
Aye.
Mr. Talley?
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you, Ms. Crane. Well, we're now to that recognition of our Boettcher and Daniels Fund scholars. And so, Dr. Filch, I'll hand it to you.
Thank you, President Mathews, and I think Chief of Communications, Ms. Myers, is going to help with this. No? Yeah, she says she is?
Let you do it.
Okay. Well, I want to start, of course, and just remind all of you just how prestigious these honors are, these scholarships. The students who are awarded a Boettcher Scholar or a Daniels Fund Scholar, they literally compete with thousands of other students in the state of Colorado, and in the case of Daniels Fund in the region. And, it's just a huge honor. And it isn't just about having the best grades or just about taking the hardest classes and how well you do on your AP or your IB exams. It's all of that together and who you are as a person. So when students compete for the Boettcher or Daniels Fund, they go through interviews, an extensive application process where every part of their life is examined, right, guys? And they look at your community service, they look at the activities and athletics you've been involved in, and they really examine what kind of a human being you are and what potential you bring to the kind of human being you are going to continue to be. It is just such an honor to have with us both Brenda McCune, who is the Boettcher Scholar, and Alexandra Sherman Sutton, who is one of the Daniels Fund Scholars, and just so very, very proud of both of you. And I think, Teresa, do you want me to keep going? I'll let you. But then I know we were having bets on how short our board meeting would be tonight, but I would love it if either of you or both of you would also be willing just to say a few words about your experience in District 6 and what your plans are, if you'd be willing to do that. Okay, Ms. Myers.
Thank you, Superintendent Pilch, President Mathews, and Board of Education. Just going to read a little tiny blurb about each of these students and have them come up for a little photo opportunity and to talk. Lexi Sherman Sutton is a graduate of Greeley Central High School as of today. I think we all saw her graduate on Saturday. In addition to receiving the Daniels Fund Scholarship, Lexi's also been selected as an alternate for the Boettcher Scholarship. She also received the prestigious Coca-Cola Scholarship. Lexi was active in Student Council, National Honor Society, Key Club, and the District 6 Council of Student Representatives. I think you got to see her do a little presentation here. She was part of swimming and diving teams and participated in unified bowling, basketball, and Special Olympics. She plans to attend the University of Southern California's Chan Division of Occupational Science and Occupational Therapy, where she has been accepted. And my husband's an occupational therapist, like Lexi. I don't think I told you that, but when I told him what you got accepted to, he's like, wow, that's super cool. Because now occupational therapy therapists must have a doctorate to practice. So this is a program that will take her through all the way through her doctorate in 6 years, and she's only one of 14 candidates to do that job. So come on up, Lexi. And then Brandon McCune is a graduate of Greeley-West High School now. And in addition to receiving the Boettcher Scholarship, he was also named a National Merit Scholarship finalist. So he's also had a pretty prestigious time in high school. Brendan has spent his entire K-12 career in District 6. He attended Winograd before attending Greeley-West. He was in the International Baccalaureate program, active in theater, worked at a disabled camp for disabled students in the summers. And he was the Greeley-West valedictorian. I think some of you got to hear his speech as well. He plans to attend Colorado College in the fall, but I'll let them talk about that. Come on up, Brendan. Lexi, do you want to take a minute to talk to the board?
So she basically already said what my plans are, but I'm planning to major in occupational therapy at the University of Southern California in the 6-year program. And yeah, I just wanted to thank all of you guys. It has been such an honor being part of District 6. And I couldn't ask for more supportive staff, administration, and board members. It's just been so awesome and so amazing working with you guys and forming connections and just connections that I'll have for the rest of my life, and such supportive people.
So Lexi, how did you pick that college, that program? How did you make that decision?
So actually, the University of Southern California was not my number one choice when I was applying for colleges, but they did have the number one occupational therapy school in the nation. And so I was like really interested in it, but it was my first application I put in. So looking back at it, I was like, oh my gosh, that was a little rough. But I got the acceptance first, and then I got an email from the professors that I had a meet and greet. And this was on a Friday, and the meet and greets were on Saturday. And I was already scheduled to work, and so I asked people to cover my shift. Nobody could. Last minute, I got it covered, and I joined the conferences, and it was me and one other guy, and we were up for the full ride. And so I didn't even apply to the accelerated program. They just selected my application as one that was accepted. I didn't even know there was the accelerated program, to be honest. But it was awesome. And then I also ended up getting the full ride there. So it was kind of like a no-brainer when everything was just laid out in front of me.
Well, congratulations, Lexi. You make District 6 look good.
Thanks.
Brendan, you want to share a little bit? And
Sure.
I may have a question for you, too.
Okay. I'm going to Colorado College, planning to major in political science, but you know how college is, I might be switching that up. I think it's pretty cool to be here right now, actually. I like watching the meeting and everything go down because I didn't even know a lot of this was happening. And I think that's just kind of a testament to District 6. Kind of it's just all going on kind of underneath like a foundation, I guess. And so it's just really cool to be able to see how much work you guys are putting in. And it's just, you guys keep it running smoothly, and I really appreciate all of you.
So, Brendan, what made you say political science? What are you thinking when you're thinking political science that you might do? And of course, you may change your mind.
Mm-hmm. I'm really interested in like foreign relations and that sort of thing. But it's kind of just like, I like to just pick something and then kind of take some classes and see from there. So.
Thank you, Brendan. Well, it has really been an honor knowing you and having you as a student here in District 6. And we all just wish both of you the best. And we're so proud of you both. And thank you for contributing to the school district in the way you both have. Thank you.
Dr. Pilch, one of our Daniels Fund scholars, wasn't able to make it tonight, but I would like to read about him because Jovan Quinones is a graduate of Greeley-West High School as well. And over the course of his tenure at Greeley-West High School, he challenged himself with a very rigorous international baccalaureate program and is an international baccalaureate diploma candidate. He ranked 5th in his class at Greeley-West High School, and he maintained stellar grades while always working part-time during high school. He was involved in multiple extracurricular activities while balancing his academics and his job. He's a member of National Honor Society, Student Council, and Key Club. Jovan was also an active team member on the Greeley-West golf, soccer, and track teams. He plans to attend the University of Colorado in Boulder to pursue a degree in business marketing, and you will also see his lovely face very soon on the cover of your report to the community. There you go.
Thank you, Mrs. Myers. And did you have a chance to get a photo with our scholars and our school board?
All of us are just stand up here.
I think-
and kind of in front of the dais.
I think all of you. Come on. We're all here.
You guys can just stand closer to the dais. So you're not going to be able to social distance. There's Terry. I'm like, oh, this is sorry.
We've been admiring footwear throughout graduation.
All right, everybody look this way. Perfect, thank you. Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you for being here, Mr. Smith.
Bye, thank you.
Yes, thank you guys. Congratulations again, Lexi, Brendan, and also Yvonne. We are, as a school district, as a Board of Education, very proud of your accomplishments. Our next item is our revisions to J student policies. This is an action item that will need a motion.
I move that the Board of Education of Greeley-Evans School District 6 revises the J students policies as presented.
Second.
Thank you both. Before we open this up for discussion from board members, Dr. Pilch, is there anything you would like to share on these revisions? They look like just pretty minor changes.
Yeah, absolutely. They are minor changes, and we're just continuing to do those updates and clean up as the policies come forward.
All right. Any questions or discussion from board members? I don't see any. Ms. Green?
Mr. Haefely?
Aye.
Mrs. Mash?
Aye.
Mr. Mathews?
Aye.
Mrs. Mueller?
Aye.
Ms. Pappas?
Aye.
Mrs. Solis?
Aye.
Mr. Talley?
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you, Ms. Crane. Our next item are revisions to policy FB facilities planning, and this is also an action item.
I move that the Board of Education of Greeley-Evans School District 6 approves the revisions to policy FB facilities planning as presented.
Second.
Thank you both. Anything that you need to say on this one, Dr. Pilch? Just again, some wording changes and some additions. Any questions or comments from board members? Seeing none, Ms. Crane?
Mr. Haefely?
Aye.
Mrs. Mash?
Aye.
Mr. Mathews?
Aye.
Mrs. Mueller?
Aye.
Ms. Pappas?
Aye.
Mrs. Solis?
Aye.
Mr. Talley?
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you, Ms. Crane. Our next item is the 2021-2022 District 6 Certified Staff Master Contract Agreement. And this too is an action item.
I move that the Board of Education of Greeley-Evans School District 6 approves the tentative agreement for the 2021-2022 School District 6 Certified Staff Master Contract Agreement as presented.
Second.
Thank you all. Dr. Pilch, before we open this up for board members, I'll give you the first
Thank
word.
you. And I want to check in with Vice President Ms. Pappas. Is there a question?
Well, I just was wondering about the word that Mr. Talley said about tentative agreement.
So what you are approving is that tentative
Okay.
agreement, and then it becomes the agreement.
Perfect.
Okay, yeah, thank you, yeah. So I hope you could see in the eyes of Mr. Longacre and Ms. Overton, the smile on their faces as they come forward with this agreement to present it to you. I just, I want to give a huge shout out to the compensation committee, who we've been meeting throughout the semester, really, just waiting and waiting to see what was going to happen with state funding. But have done some significant problem solving. And so I want to recognize that team, or were you guys planning to say who they are?
No, go right
No.
ahead.
Who is made up of the Greeley Education Association President, Andy Lee, our Greeley Education Association President-elect, Aaron Snyder, Mr. Kelly Longacre, and Ms. Dawn Feinberg, and then from the district administration, Mrs. Megan Sponsor, Chief Financial Officer, Mrs. Annette Overton, Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources, and me, the Superintendent of Schools. And, I know as we come forward smiling tonight, there were lots of years of struggling and not smiling during contract negotiations. And part of that was due to funding, and part of that was just due to how the relationship had gone between the administration and the association. And, I'm just so proud of the work of the team. And how we've worked to solve very difficult problems. Last year when we faced budget cuts, we had to reopen the contract. We had a 2-year agreement, but we had to reopen the contract and had to back up and address those budget cuts. And we couldn't do what we had promised our staff in the previous year that we would do for them over the next 2 years. Tonight, with the proposal that comes before you, we're able to rectify some of that we weren't able to do last year. And I'm just so proud of this team and of the leadership with our Teachers Association and the work that we have accomplished. So with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Kelly Longacre and Mrs. Annette Overton.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Pilch. And good evening to you all. I want to say that Kelly and I are up here. Kelly, a long-term executive board member of Greeley Education Association and long-term negotiations team member, longer than me, and a compensation committee member, and I are here tonight to discuss the tentative agreement between the Teachers Association and District 6. And we're excited to bring you an update on the committee's progress this spring. We discussed our discussions centered around the state budget actions, various hopes for compensation for certified staff, and then all the work that work groups, employee groups gave throughout the COVID year. We had lots of discussions around that and how to eliminate the transitional salary schedule by moving all employees from that schedule onto the certified salary schedule in the master contract. Today, that committee identified, together, the committee identified ways to move over 68 employees to the new schedule and place them in the most appropriate cell which aligns with their current salary. The key benefit to moving them to the certified schedule is that they will now have the option to earn more salary based on professional development that they take. Ideally, we want all employees to continue to learn and grow, and through that process, they will receive compensation by participating in the horizontal advancement process. All transitional salary schedule employees will receive their letter to their home outlining a new salary placement and the expectation for their 2021-2022 salary amount. I'll turn it over to Kelly to give you all the details around the new agreement.
Well, thank you. The committee reached our consensus following all the information on our certified salary schedule, and I'm pleased to announce as the GEA representatives have conducted our vote, and we are accepting and ratifying our portion of the contract to present to you. And those items include a 4% base raise on the certified salary schedule. All staff will receive a step on the salary schedule and will be eligible for horizontal advancement on the salary schedule based on their educational credits. And they will be using the advancement procedure that as outlined in the master contract. All certified staff will continue the benefits option at a no cost to the employee. I would also like to state that the salary agreement meets many of our long-term goals that we've had here in District 6. And I want to say as a thank you to our staff and who have faced so many overwhelming challenges this last year. To receive this 4% is just absolutely amazing. And we've all worked so hard for student success, and this is a testament to the district's ability to meet that same work ethic and things that we were working for so hard this last year. One of my long-term goals as a GEA member is to have a $40,000 starting salary. We were supposed to have that this last year, but we had to pull back. This next fall, we will have that, and that will keep us competitive in the marketplace. And finally, all certified staff will be on the same salary schedule. We will no longer have a transitional schedule and no longer have to have those difficult conversations about those people that are on that salary schedule. So we're super excited about where we're at.
And so board members, Kelly and I are here and available to entertain any questions that we are here and available to answer any questions that you may have.
I bet we might have a few. Thank you both for being here tonight. Mr. Hafley.
I remember 2 meetings when Ms. Solis and I were first on the board, and during the course of those meetings, I've never felt been so hated in my entire life, ever. And what I would tell you now is that I probably should have voted no on that, Mr. Longacre, not because I don't believe we had the money, but because the negotiation system was broken. And then Dr. Pilch was hired, and Ms. Solis and I came into the negotiations with you and the administration and everybody else. And I will never forget the tension and the lack of trust, and even to probably some degree some hatred that filled that room. And what I would tell you is that it takes big people on both sides to overcome challenges and be able to forgive and to move forward in a positive manner. And I would like to thank you and the association, and Dr. Pilch, and the administration, and all the board members that I worked with at the time for making it the opportunity to work in the district so much more pleasant. And I know that great things will continue, and I'm very, very appreciative, so thank you.
Ms. Elise.
It's hard not to get emotional. It was really hard at the time my mom had passed away, and it could have been real easy for me to just skip the meeting and have an easy out. But I showed up and I voted and I supported my board because I knew how difficult this was. And Kelly, you know, you have been instrumental in us moving forward by example. And I know that wasn't always easy. I know there was a lot of risk in that. You had to be vulnerable, and we had to really open up our hearts and our minds to be able to even have these conversations. And I think you were one of those people that just led the way, knowing that it was hard, and you continued to have those conversations with us, and it really, really mattered. And so please thank your staff and everyone, and the same for you, Annette. This work hasn't been easy for us, and yet I look at what we've healed and where we are, and this is probably the proudest I am of the work that we've done in these 8 years that we've been in these school board positions, and it was the hardest. And I think of how much of that was done before we even got on the board, how much we had to heal, how much we had to cry, how much we had to give and listen. And, you know, everyone, I'm just amazed in the process that Dr. Pilch brought us to really, really break those conversations down. A lot of it was miscommunication, not understanding, and really getting us to a point where we recognized where we were all coming from and that we're all in this together, and how do we move forward together. And this is just such an amazing day to see us continue to, you know, advance and do better, be better. And so just thank you for taking that journey with us and trusting us and, you know, being open and vulnerable, because I know it wasn't easy for you. And I'm sure you got a lot of slack at first because you even tried or attempted it. And yet, had you not, we wouldn't be here. So just thank you for all of your time and your heart and your effort in doing this. This will be part of a long story. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Elise. Ms. Mathews.
Very similar to what Mr. Hafley and Ms. Elise have talked about. I was fortunate enough to come on board with Dr. Pilch and be part of that first negotiations process as well. And it was hard. It was hard for all of us, and you saw the perseverance and the commitment and the passion and the dedication to our kids. And I am just grateful to be here. I am so grateful for your negotiations team for making this happen, for our staff. I think you said it, Kelly, just what people have worked, what the work that people have done this year is just, you can't even speak to, you can't even put words to that. And the fact that last year we weren't able to move forward as planned, and now we can do even better. I just want you to know how grateful I am to be part of this, and thank you both very much. And please thank your entire negotiations team.
Thank you.
Not seeing any other questions or comments from board members, so I will just add again, thank you for this, for your work this year, but as Ms. Pappas mentioned, thank you for the work and the commitment and the sacrifice last year. It really did feel so bad for this board to not be able to honor what we had negotiated. And I mean, I know our teachers understand, our administration understands. We understood. I mean, that's where we were, but it felt terrible after what was given last spring for teachers to take our everything that they had been doing in person and over the course of a week or 2 weeks around spring break, take it all online and to successfully complete the year, and then to have financial woes on top of pandemic. It just felt terrible. And so this feels so much better, and we're so excited, and thank you guys for all of your work that's made it happen. So
President Mathews?
Yes, ma'am.
May I? And I so appreciate all your comments and how much you recognize what a big deal this is and how deserving our staff are of this. I just feel compelled to remind everyone that District 6 continued education a year ago when we went remote. We were not one of those districts that said grades are not going to count, or one of those districts that said, just, do the best you can. Here's a way you can maybe stay connected. We actually did school remotely. Our teachers and our administrators and our support staff made school happen. And then they came back in the fall with a totally new schedule on cohorting and 4x4 blocks and not having electives the way they had, not having their planning periods the way they'd had it, not having lunchtime like they'd had it. I mean, their world has been completely upended. And we did this when other school districts around us did not. And so it's truly an honor to be able to recognize that work. I know money isn't ever enough. I mean, we can never pay people enough, right? But it does matter when we can say that we are spending every single penny we're going to get next year. We are. And we're going to do as much as we can for the people who we employ here in this system. So thank you.
With that, Ms. Crane, will you give us a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Hafley?
Aye.
Mrs. Mash?
Aye.
Mr. Mathews?
Aye.
Mrs. Mueller?
Aye.
Ms. Pappas?
Aye.
Mrs. Solis?
Aye.
Mr. Talley?
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
And our next item is communication, public participation regarding non-agenda items. And I don't believe we have anybody signed up to speak with us tonight. So
No.
that is all the business that we have tonight. Again, thank you to our teachers, to all of our support staff, to our administrators, to our students. You guys have earned very much this great big break that we have. So please take some time and get some rest. This meeting is adjourned.